We'll now go behind the headlines and get to the heart of the news with our commentator who will give us his take on the issues that have already been mentioned by the president's media advisor. Well, the former chairman of the editorial board of Daily Trust newspapers and, of course, Arise analyst Mahmud Jega joins me at the moment. Thank you so much, Mahmud, for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, some sort of explanatory situation of government policies by Bayo Ononuga, who is a close aide of President Tinubu. What do you make of all the talks about President Tinubu being concerned about how Nigerians are faring? And many Nigerians from outside are saying that, look, it looks like the president is out of touch because the prices of goods are jumping up every day.
Well, I'm sure he's very concerned, as the special advisor said, but assurances of concern probably will not impress citizens very much until the impact of the policies is seen in real time, in particular about the prices of food. Now, I suspect that the government itself has very little wiggle room, like saying they will open the strategic reserves. But when you hear the quantity of food in the strategic reserve, it may not be enough to have an effect on more than 200 million people. What are the other options? Well, the rainy season is still coming, and you pray for a good harvest, but that is many months away. Probably the only other alternative is to import food, like probably President Shagari did in 1980 and said, okay, massive importation of but that will also defeat the government's agricultural policy of trying to grow food inside. So it is a very difficult situation, but we hope to see light at the end of the tunnel.
All right. Well, I asked him on the government's decision to lift sanctions on 43 items that were earlier banned by the Buhari administration from accessing forex and all of that. He tried to explain it. And then, of course, the issues that have to do with the issues of minimum wage. The NLC is asking for 1 million naira at the moment. He's saying that, look, it may not be feasible because of the issues. Talk to us. President Tinubu came on the strength of being an economic expert, someone that a lot of people think that he'll be able to find solutions to the issues of the economy. Yeah, maybe they may forgive him on the issues of insecurity, but on the issues of economy, they think it will be unforgivable if President Tinubu doesn't perform well. How do you react to some of the things he had to say about the president?
Well, you know, like with respect to the CBN policy that restored those 43 items that were initially excluded from the foreign exchange market, I had the explanation. Mr. Onanuga is not exactly in the economic team, so I don't know whether that is the... because it didn't to many citizens make sense. You are trying to reduce the number of players that could source foreign exchange from the source. They can go and get it somewhere else, that is okay. But if they have to compete with everyone else in trying to get the official forex, then that is one thing that could drive the thing forward. But I don't know, the CBN people and the economists, maybe they know better. Now, about the minimum wage, I also laughed when I saw the story today that NLC is demanding 1 million naira minimum wage. Now, to go from 33,000 to 1 million, one fell swoop, I think is a bit laughable, even though, of course, NLC has good reasons. You know, by the time you say, okay, this 30,000 naira used to be so many dollars, and the same amount of dollars today is this. Now, that makes some sense. But also, as Mr. Onanuga said, we have to worry that the 30,000 naira minimum wage today, many states and local governments are not paying it. 26 states, he said. I don't know that that is accurate, but if it is true that 26 states and possibly all the local governments in those states are not paying the 30,000 naira minimum wage, and that is despite the increase in the allocation in the federation account, which was brought about by the rise in the value of the of the dollar and also the removal of fuel subsidy, then probably something is very, very wrong, probably criminal on the part of those state governments. But you must take that into consideration as you consider raising the minimum wage, because probably the realistic target would be 50 or 100,000 minimum wage. But Labour said 1 million. It's a good starting position for negotiation.
All right. Then also, I talked, with him about the issues of the politics of his economics policies. The politics of his economic policies. If you look at the rise in anti-Tinubu sentiments in northern Nigeria, I mean, it's happening in the south, even his home base in the southwest, where people were shouting, and even people spoke with him directly, and they started saying, "Ebing Power, that's we are hungry." When he visited Lagos Central Mosque, then people are saying that it looks like President Tinubu is taking these sentiments for granted, that people are beginning to say that. In fact, some imams come out to say that, look, what's the value of the Muslim ticket thing that we did and all of that. But from his answer, it looks like they just think it's something that they should deflect.
Well, the administration has had a rough start, let's be frank, and a lot of the problems were inherited. As Mr. Onanuga said, the process of removing fuel subsidy was started by the previous administration with a firm date. And luckily for the Tinubu presidency, all the other major contestants in last year's election also promised to do the same thing, but maybe in a different way. That's what they are saying. So the government has had a rough start. And in any country in this world where you are encountering problems like very high inflation like this, the government will have difficulty with citizens. You said the political side of it. Luckily, the president has spent 6 months out of 4 years. So there is time to recover politically. That's a good thing about presidential system. You have a guaranteed 4-year tenure. You will be afraid if after 3 years, this sentiment is still there or is building up, then it will be very difficult to recover. But right now, and luckily, Nigerians in particular have a short memory. If in the next 1 year, things get better, people will say, aha, very good.
All right, just before I let you go, the PDP governors actually said that there's the issue of Nigeria heading towards Venezuela, which he addressed that, look, we are not heading towards hyperinflationary trends like it happened in Venezuela and all of that. Do you believe that? Because, I mean, those governors, for them to have come out with such a communique, isn't it something we should consider?
Certainly, the kind of inflation that we are having in the country now, I think the last time in my own memory that we had something like this was when the Udoji salary was paid in January 1974. Overnight prices went. But that one we could see the reason. It was because government unloaded so much money. Now the biggest fear is that the Naira will continue to fall against the dollar. Because if that continues, then the prices will only keep rising. But the government has given assurances. I pray that they know what they are doing. And we hope to see light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, Mahmud, thank you so much. Mahmud Jega is a RISE analyst and former chairman of the Daily Trust editorial board. We thank you so much for always being there to help us understand all the issues, especially the ones raised by this special advisor to President Tinubu on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, earlier on. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of RISE Prime Time, where we try to seek understanding of issues, explanatory journalism at its best. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Samna Sama.